Hi fashion lovers, welcome again to my YouTube channel. I'm super excited to be having you here. If this is your first time, welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you on how to draft this halter neck backless dress. I'm going to be taking you through the easy step-by-step tutorials, right? If this is what you want to learn, let's get right into the tutorials. So for these tutorials, these are the things I'll be needing basically aside your measurements. You'll be needing your chalk, your measurement tape. You'll also be needing your elastic, your 0.5 elastic. That's like the smallest size of elastic, right? It's in black and white. So my scissors, my ruler, and my fabric. Now this fabric yardage is dependent on the size and the length you desire to make for yourself. So as you can see, I've spread open my fabric. So now I'm going to be folding it into a triangle. Now this triangle is going to be serving as it's like a full flay, right? If you want to be full, like a full flay, this is how exactly you're going to be folding yours, right? But for this particular tutorial, I'm not going to be making it a complete full flay, right? I'm going to be making it like a 90-degree flay, so my folding will not be in that form. The triangle form, it will be in a bias form, not completely flay, but it will still carry the A-line look, right? And it still carry the flay look, right? So this is how I'm folding it, not completely. This particular pattern of folding, it can help you achieve a longer version of this halter neck backless dress, right? You can see how long it is. So if you want it very long, like full length, this is the actual way to fold it, right? So when I was done folding, I'm going to be ruling my starting point, which is going to be serving as my neckline and my shoulder line, right? So from that, my starting point, I'm going to be marking out my full length. Now if you're going to be marking your full length, you're going to be subtracting your off shoulder. So you might subtract by 5, you might subtract by 3, you might subtract by 4, right? But in this particular tutorial, I didn't do any subtraction, so it was just exact. That's why it went below my knee, right? So depending on how you want it, just straight out, like remove 3 inches from your tape and mark your full length. I hope you got that. So I'm going to be going ahead now to determine the neck. So my neck, I want it to be full, right? If you want yours to be really full, it will be your neck times 3. So if your neck width is 3.5, you're going to be timesing it by 3. So 3.51, 3.52, and 3.53, right? As you can see the way I'm marking mine. Then that's the point where I marked mine. Then if you know by the sides, like where the armhole is going to be, I'm going to be folding in. So I'll be needing to add at least ½ an inch for folding. So that's where you see me trying to explain over there. I'm marking but for this particular one, I marked 1 inch folding. So it's going to help when I fold and still help cover part of my bust. I don't want my bust to show, right? So from that, my starting point, I'm going to be marking my half length. Now half length means your shoulder to your waistline. I think I'm going to be doing a detailed tutorial on how to take measurements, right? So as you can see, I went ahead from my starting point to mark my full length, which I marked 42. Now if 42 is too long for you, you can go ahead and mark your 40, 35, 53, as the case may be. So I'm going to be connecting all the lines together, all the points together, just the way I'm doing right here. So I was done marking that point, and this is how it looks. Remember, while marking your full length, you can remove the off shoulder part. So your off shoulder can be 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, right, as the case may be, before you then mark your full length. So I'm going to be going ahead now to mark my half length. So this half length is going to be attached to the back pattern of this dress. So, and that's where I'm going to be folding my side armhole, right? I'll be ending it there, but that's the particular place I'm going to be joining my back with the front. Okay, so if you don't want it to be too open, you might not necessarily use your original half length, so you can go up by say 1.5 or 2 inches if you don't want your back to be too open, if you don't want your butt to be too exposed or open, right? You can choose to go up by 2 inches, 2.5, right? So me, I went up by 2.5. So now on my neck region, so for if you don't want it to be too full on that neck region, I still went ahead. I marked my first 3.5 inch, marked the second 3.5 inch, right? So I'm not going to be timesing it by 3 again. I'm going to be using it by 2. Then I'm going to be marking the extra excess that I want it, like, to give it ease. I'm going to be marking extra, let's say 2 inches plus my folding. That's what I'm trying to do. So if you want to do the first one I explained, you can go ahead and do the first one. It will still sit well. Only that one will give you a fuller neck, right? So I want at least a mild neck, not too full, but at least it's full. You understand? So this is what I did here. So I'm going to be connecting that point I got to my half length. Now to my new half length that I came up by 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to connect the lines just the way you see me do. I hope you understand the explanation on the neck. So if you want to be fuller, you can use that my first method to achieve your neck. So for my neck, I'm going to be going up by 1 inch. Now it will help. So this will be serving as our casing where our rope will be passing into, right, to form that gathers. So I was done. I'm going to be connecting it. I used 1 inch allowance. So this height is already looking, beautiful, right? I know if you have been following from the beginning, you find out that it is very easy to follow, right? So as you can see, I'm going to be taking the width measurement of this front so that I'll be knowing exactly what I want for my back pattern. So I'm going to be going ahead now to cut out my front pattern of this dress, just the way you see me do. So I was done cutting the front pattern of this dress, and yes, it looks really pretty. It's already carrying the flay look, right, but not the full flay look. So if you want the full flay look, if you've been watching from the beginning, you already know what it is, right? So now I want to cut out my back pattern, but I need to know the length of my back pattern. Now from that part where your armhole is, you're going to be measuring down and also measuring the wideness, right? I've measured it, and I'm going to be placing my back pattern just the way you see me on a triangle. So first of all, I'm going to be marking out the length of my back pattern with the measurement I took from the front. Now I've gotten, my mine is 26, as you can see, but I will be needing my front pattern to be able to draft appropriately on my back. So I'm going to be bringing my front pattern, to place over my back pattern, just the way you see me, right? So I'm going to be shifting it forward, at least to meet that particular length that I've marked out there. So on folding, I realized that, okay, the back pattern I already placed, fabric, the way I placed it is not enough. So I'm going to be going ahead now to adjust it in a way that accommodates the front, right? This is me adjusting, and I placed it again, and it's not still accommodating it, but I'm going to be adjusting it as we go, right? So first of all, I'm going to be marking from that my front half length where I'm supposed to join the back with. So you see, I went ahead now to adjust my pattern. So now it's okay. So I'm going to be marking that place, that half length, and I'm going to be tracing out Yes, like I'm tracing the full part, that's the M part of the gown. I'm tracing out on my back pattern, and I'm still going to tracing out the sides, right, so that I have something like that looks like the front pattern. Like I don't end up having inappropriate back, right, or appropriate shape. So right, to get my back right, I'm going to be folding it just the way you see me do. I folded the front pattern in a way that I can have what I want for my back. So this is my back. I've already achieved what I want. Now for the case where you want your back to have a V look, right? If you want your back to have that deep look, this is where you could achieve that. Now you can come down from that end, from that center back by, okay, now for now we're adding our what they call it, the casing, where we're going to be placing the casing, the elastic, right? So I went up by 2 inches. So when I'm done folding, it will fall back to like 1 inch or half an inch, depending on how you fold yours, right? So when I was done, I'm going to be connecting the lines. But first of all, if you want, like I explained earlier, if you want the deep back, like that shape, you will come down from that your back line, that starting point, not the allowance I gave. But I'm going to be illustrating it just the way you see me, right? You can come down by say 2 inches or 1.5 and connect it like a V, a curve down to that my side seam, just the way you see me do. So you can see that we have that shape already. Okay, so I'm going ahead now to cut, but I'm not using that shape I created last. I'm using the first one. I'm just showing you, for example, if you want to have that shape. So I brought my back pattern to the front and trying to examine if it's the length is okay. So after I've done, I fold mine, I'm going to verify if the length is actually okay, and it is actually okay. So this is how I'm going to be placing it on the front pattern when I'm done sewing my dress. So as you can see, this is how it looks. If you've been following from the beginning, you should be having exactly something that looks like this. In fact, it should look like this. So I'm going to be showing how I cut the bias, that's the rope for the neck. So I went ahead now to fold my fabric, and I'm marking 1.5 or 2 inches, right, all the way, and I'm going to be joining the points together. I went ahead and I cut, and I placed that same part that I cut on the fabric again to cut another one. So I'll be having 2 rope, so it will be long. But if you don't want to be long, you can at least mark out the desired length you want. So when I was done marking out or cutting out, this is what I have, and I'm going to be joining both rope, right? So first of all, I bring my gown, that place that's going to be serving as my armhole, I'm going to be folding it like this until I get to that half length. What I did on the other side, I'm going to be doing on this side also. So I was done sewing, I was done joining my bias or my band, and this is what it looks like, right? So I'll put that aside, and I'm going to be showing you what I did on the front pattern. I was done folding the sides, that's the armhole side, and this is what it looks. For you to achieve this neat look, you will be careful while folding in. So I brought my back pattern, and this is what it looks like, right? So if you want that V, you know what I told you in the first place. So I went ahead now to fold my pattern, my back pattern, right? I was done sewing it, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to be infusing my elastic into the casing I made out of my back. So I was done. I'm going to be stitching that place down and dragging my elastic until I get the desired waist I want. So this is what I want, and it is looking pretty already. So I bring my front pattern of the dress, that ample side where I told you that I'm going to be joining the back to, I'm going to be placing it, right? I'm stretching it out. I'm going to be pinning all over, and I'm going to be sewing straight on 1/2 inch, right? There's no particular measurements for it. There's no particular seam allowance for it. So I was done sewing my 1/2 inch on both sides, and this is what the dress look like. Yours should be looking like this. You see how if you've been following the step by step, you should be achieving same results. So on my neckline, and I'm going to be going ahead now to fold in the allowance I kept for the folding, right, of the neck. So I was done folding. So I went ahead now to iron my bias. So the bias is on 2 inches. I fold one side 1/2 inch, fold the other side 1/2 inch, and ironed. Then bring them back together and iron, and this is what I have. So I went ahead now to sew on that part, so I will not have any opening. Sorry, I'm not too fast. Hope I'm not too fast. So I'm going to be fixing this rope into my neck casing, right? The casing we created. So this is how I'm fixing it in. Just take your time to fix it in. Your rope shouldn't be bigger than your casing. So I was done. I'm trying to make the rope equal. So this is what it looks like. So if you want yours to be fuller than this, like the neck to be fuller than this, you can actually do that first illustration I gave. So I went ahead. I'm going to be folding my M, and this is what the M looks like. And I'm sure that this process wasn't difficult for you. So this is what the final look of this dress. This is how the back looks. This is how long the rope. If you don't want your rope to be long like this, you can as well like cut and reduce it. Hope you found this interesting. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share, so that people that actually want to see this video would get to see it. Now it is bye from me until we'll see again in our next tutorial. I love you guys. Please engage in my videos. Bye.